I know. Okay, listen, you don't have to tell me, I know. I know that we're basically already halfway through 2025, so what am I doing talking about my favorite books of 2024? Here's the thing, okay? I read over 130 books last year, and of course, I found new favorites. I found stories that I still think about to this day, and these are books that I've never been able to talk to you guys about, like, properly, like, sit down and be like, this rewired my entire brain chemistry. Please read it and let's talk about it together. I've never been able to do that because, I mean, to make a very long story short, the last couple of months of 2024 were not we never had that moment, okay? And I really want to have it because, listen, I'm just going to show you a quick sneak peek because I have some incredibly fantastic and beautiful and heartbreaking new favorite books, and I really want to talk to you guys about them. I'm going to take this video to talk to you guys about some of my new favorite books and why I love them, what they're about, just literally everything and anything, how it made me feel, my reading experience. There are a couple of books here that I know that you guys are dying to hear my opinion on, and I came to deliver. So sit back, relax, grab a snack or a drink, or both. I mean, you could always do both, and just enjoy. Just listen to me talk about some of my new favorite books that will surely become your favorite as well. So, oh my goodness, hi, hello. Not me forgetting to welcome you guys to this video. Hello, my friends. Hello, my favorite people. How are we doing? How are we feeling? Thank you for coming back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome to your new favorite place on the internet. My name is Bella, and I'm very passionate about the books that make me feel things and that make me hurt and make me laugh and make me reconsider my entire life. Yeah, I love those types of books and I really want to talk to you guys about them. So again, I'm really excited about this. I really hope that you enjoy, and maybe you'll find a new book or two that you can add to your TBR, plus the honorable mentions. So yeah, because we do have honorable mentions. Like there's a whole structure to this thing. So I mean, why don't we just go ahead and get started? Wait, let me just take a sip. I need it. Okay, let's do this. I'm so scared. I'm so excited. So these aren't in any specific order. All of these are favorites. Like you can't make me choose between my children. It's literally Sophie's choice. I just can't do it. Even though eventually she had to, but still. We're just going to start off with the first book that I see in this pile, and that is Business Casual by B.K. Borison. So this is the fourth and final book in the Love Light Farms series written by B.K. Borison. Basically in each book we're following two different characters, two different love stories, and in this one we are following Nova and the guy, Charlie. Sorry, I swear that I loved this book, but I'm just not great with characters' names, so please don't hold that against me. Like, in no way does that mean that I love this book any less just because I couldn't remember Charlie's name. This book was like a warm hug after a very long day. It's honestly so cozy and so comforting, and it's honestly very relatable. There were so many instances where I was reading from Nova's point of view, because this is dual points of view, and when we were on Nova's character, the way that she felt and her insecurities and honestly like her existential crisis that she was having over, you know, her not feeling good enough or her not feeling like she was doing enough to make her family and her friends proud of what she was doing. I could relate to so many of her feelings and so many of her, like her self-doubt, her lack of confidence, but even so, like trying her best to do the absolute most. Like, it was just so relatable, and seeing such a strong character like Nova push through these insecurities and still be able to live such a happy and fulfilling life, it was just so rewarding. It felt like I was living a fulfilling and complete life with the love of my life as well. Like, it was just so beautiful. Reading Business Casual gave me the same feeling that I get when I'm watching one of my favorite rom-coms, and it's just that B.K. Borison has such a magic with romance tropes. Like, she uses them in such an intelligent and unique way that makes these tropes feel fresh and makes them feel like they haven't been used or like overused, and it's just such a fun experience. I can't, like, don't even get me started on the chemistry between these two characters, like the tension, the build-up, the way that it wasn't just like from one chapter to another. It's like the build-up. Like, you know they're going to end up together, obviously, because it's a romance book, but still, it's the getting there that is so, so good and makes everything 10 times more rewarding. And it was just like, I can't do it. I cannot do it. Literally, after reading Business Casual, I reread all of the other books in the series because I was like, this is what I'm alive for, okay? This is the reason. These types of books are the reason that I can get up in the morning and still want to keep going. It reminded me that a romance book doesn't always have to be full of angst and fights and miscommunication for it to be good. We can also focus on the sweetness of personal growth and growing like next to each other. Like, these characters didn't need each other to thrive, but they chose to do it together. And as you can see, I loved it so much. I have so many moments that I annotated and that I highlighted and that just drove me insane. Because, I mean, if there's one thing that I love about this book, there's so much to love about this book. I can't just choose one. Between the characters, between the story itself, between the writing, the plot, everything about this book was so good. And it was such a wonderful conclusion to the Love Light series that I have fallen in love with, and that I have basically read every single book in one sitting, just because I could not continue on with my life without knowing how these books end and how these characters make their way to each other. This book just reminded me why love is so beautiful and why I love love and why I am such a hopeless romantic and why it's okay to be a hopeless romantic even if the entire world is telling you that there's just no way that love can survive in such a hostile environment. BK Borison reminded me that it's okay to slow down. It's still possible to live a good life and to find a good love. And I don't know, like, just so good. Like, it was just so good, and honestly, like, talking about it, I want to reread it again, even though it hasn't even been that long since I last read it, but it was, like, there's so many good moments. This book was just, okay? The next book, this one honestly caught me by surprise. This was an author that I had never read anything from before, so I didn't know if I was going to vibe with the writing. I didn't know if they were one of those authors that use tropes so much, and then the story just gets lost in all of the tropes of it all. But I was so pleasantly surprised. I was so wrong. Oh my goodness. Okay, Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. Don't even get me started. This book was on my TBR for an entire year before I decided to pick it up. Honestly, I have to thank TikTok for this, because if I hadn't seen this on a random TikTok while I was scrolling through my phone, I would have never picked it up. I had honestly forgotten that I even had this book in my TBR. That's how off my radar this book was. But once I remembered that I had it, and once I saw a couple of my friends also reading this one and being like, hey, you could like this book, I was like, wait, I actually own this book. So I don't know how you guys are going to feel about this comparison, but reading this book was like falling into a Hallmark movie, but with better writing and better characters and just better everything. But like, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I just literally felt like I was reading a Hallmark movie, but like not one of those really cheesy, really tropey ones. It makes sense in my head, I'm so sorry. We've got these two characters, Alexis and Daniel. I swear, if those are its names. Oh my god, it literally is. Alexis Montgomery and Daniel Grant. Daniel is a soft boy. You know, he's like very family tuned. He likes working in his shed. He is very familiar. He has a close group of friends. He's very loyal. He's all that. And then we have Alexis, and she's a little bit different. She's like, you know, big city life. She has big dreams, even bigger responsibilities. She has a lot of work, but obviously, as in a Hallmark movie, things take a turn for the worse, and now Alexis has to go to this small town, and there, obviously, she meets Daniel, and of course, a romance ensues. It's not something that they were looking for. It's not something that they even thought, like, they didn't really think that they were going to work out, because they're so, like, they're from two very different worlds. They thought that that was going to bring them down, but the more that they get to know each other, the more that they fall in love, the more that they realize that they would do anything and everything to fight to stay together, because their love is one of the most beautiful things that I've read this entire year. Like, even 2025 included, this is still one of the best romances that I've read. I think my favorite part about this book is not even the romance. if I'm being honest. I think it's the journey that Alexis takes, not the journey from like the big city to her small town. It's more so like the personal journey that she has to go through, the personal growth, all of the obstacles that are thrown her way, and how she never gives up, even though she really, really wants to. Her resilience, her perseverance, it was so commendable. It was so inspiring. It was so motivational. And I read this at a point in my life where I really could relate to what Alexis was going through, and her having to choose what she truly wants to do for herself instead of listening to what others have told her her entire life that she has to do. It was so well done. Like, you don't understand. Like, there's something so comforting about seeing or reading about someone who's choosing to love and to live after so many years of just surviving. Because there is a difference between living and surviving. And I think that Alexis is one of those people that for so long, she didn't even realize that she was just living on como automático. Like, she really didn't, she was just doing things because people told her that that was what she was supposed to do. But it took her meeting Daniel for her to realize that there's more to life than just existing. There's more to life than just surviving day after day. You can choose to live and you can choose to love, and your life is going to be so much richer for it. And I think that honestly, I myself had forgotten that simple rule. And by reading a part of your world, it was kind of like a wake-up call. It was the most beautiful wake-up call that I've ever received. And yes, this is more than just a romance book, okay? This is more than just a love story between these two characters that come from different worlds. This is so much more than that. It's a story about growth. It's a story about love, all types of love, self-love, family love, the love between two people. Okay, like, all that I can say is that this book transformed me, and I read this book when I needed it the most, and it helped me so much. And again, it's more than just a love story. It is a very incredible love story, don't get me wrong, but it is so much more than that, and I would obviously highly recommend it, okay? Like, don't even. The next book is also a romance, and I think that this is the last romance that I'm going to be recommending, and I don't even have a copy for it. That's a crime. That's actually a criminal offense. I can't believe, like, when I was collecting all the books, I was like, wait, where is this book? Why don't I have it? And that's when I realized that I actually read it on my Kindle with my Patreons for my Patreon book club. I can't believe that I don't own a copy of Funny Story by Emily Henry, but there we go. Funny Story. Emily, I mean, do I even have to explain this one? It's Emily Henry, my dude. Like, I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. Emily Henry has been one of my auto-buy authors for a while now. Like, ever since she published Beach Read, I've been devouring her books, and Funny Story was no exception. There is so much to unpack in this book, from the emotional baggage that these characters have been carrying for years, to how they process their emotions, to how they communicate. I love that this book had like a more introspective tone than the rest of Emily Henry's books. Like, this was, again, a very personal journey for each of these characters. Like, yes, there is romance involved, but then we also have their very messy inner lives. I can't even look up the names because I don't have a physical copy. I know her name is Daphne, but I don't know the guy's name. I'm so sorry. I genuinely love him though. Like, he is such an incredible example of a good man. Like, he is just such a good man, and he is such a good friend. The combination of his personality with Daphne's, it was just so good. It was literal fireworks. Like, it was so good. Funny Story, we're following these two characters, and they are going through a very messy breakup. Daphne was about to get married, or like she had a boyfriend, I think a fiance, and they were in talks of a wedding. But then he, like her boyfriend, breaks it off with her so that he can get together with this one friend who is also the girlfriend of Miles. Is Miles the name? I think Miles is the name of the guy. Daphne and Miles? Daphne and Miles, yes. So Miles had a girlfriend, and then the girlfriend also broke up with Miles, and then this girlfriend and the boyfriend of Daphne get together Even though the boyfriend always told Daphne, no, she's just a friend. There's nothing you have to worry about. So don't even. Okay, so then they get together, and then Daphne and Miles are also now like in this awkward situation where it's like, okay, so your boyfriend left you for my girlfriend. So now they have like this really awkward connection between the both of them. Daphne obviously doesn't want to accept this. Like, why should we be friends just because our partners decided to leave us for each other? Like, I honestly, like, I'm literally shocked. I don't know if you can tell by my face, but I'm literally shocked at how much I remember of this story, considering that I read it like over 12 or 15 months ago. No, you don't understand. I have such a horrible memory, especially for character names and the plot of the story. Like, usually, even with my favorite books, the most that I can remember, the thing that is clearest to me is how the book made me feel. I can go on and on about how a book made me feel, and if I cried, if I laughed, if it changed me, if it rewired my brain chemistry, I could talk about that for months. But then ask me what the book is about, ask me about the character names, and I'm like, I don't know. So the fact that I remember so much about funny stories should give you an inkling of how much this book means to me and how much I actually enjoyed reading this book. This next one, I guess, could be considered a romance, but it's not the main thing. It's more so about trauma. It's more so about trauma and a very famous sport that's called Xe. Nora Sakavic wrote a new book in her Foxhole Court series, or like the All for the Game series. So obviously we have the original trilogy, which is the Foxhole Court, the Raven King, and the King's Men. She has that original trilogy, and then last year we got a new book. We got a new book, the first book in a new series, and this series, oh my god, in this series we are following a character that when I first read the Foxhole trilogy, this was a character that I would have died to know more about. Like, I loved the little bits and pieces that we got of this character in the original trilogy, and now we have an entire book about him, the Sunshine Court. We are following Jean. I think that's, yeah, because he's French. So we're following Jean, and he used to be part, ¿cómo te explico? Because you have to know what happens in the Foxhole Court to understand what happens in the Sunshine Court, like to understand the depth of everything that is going on. Because Jean used to be a part of this really psychotic Xe team. Xe is a made-up sport that Nora Sakavic created for this series. Jean used to be a part of this really horrible, horrendous, psychotic team of Xe called the Ravens. And after the events of the Foxhole Court, or like the last book in that series, the Raven team is in shambles, and Jean manages to escape. Escape, because that's how dark, that's how problematic that team is. There are so many trigger warnings for this series. I do have to mention that because when I first picked up the series, I didn't know that it was going to get that dark, and I didn't know that it was going to be getting that explicit and that, but I don't regret it. I don't regret it because I feel like it is so worth it. And this new series, again, we're following Jean, and we're following Jeremy Knox, who is the team captain of another team. Jean is almost like this stray dog that has been abused for years, and he doesn't know how to interact with anybody else. Like, he's scared of people touching him. He's scared of doing or saying the wrong thing. He's obviously still trying to, understand and kind of analyze what happened to him in the Ravens team, because for so many years he thought this is what he deserved. He thought that this was what life was all about. He didn't know that there was an alternative. He thought, for so many years, he thought that this was what he deserved. And being able to be inside of Jean's mind, and also the dual POV between Jean and Jeremy, it's magic. It's absolutely brilliant. If you love morally gray characters, if you love complicated found families, if you love chaos and action and tension, all types of tension, then this one is going to deliver big time. I need you to read it, okay? Bottom line, read The Sunshine Court. You will not regret it. It's going to be one of the best experiences that you have in 2025. I can already guarantee that. This next one had me sobbing my eyes out. This is probably the book, and then two others that I'm about to mention as well, but this book had me sobbing at 1 a.m. and I even filmed it for a reading challenge. Like, I read this book in the middle of a reading challenge, and it destroyed me. Like, I was not the same person after I finished reading Shark Heart by Emily Habeck. This says that this is a love story, but don't be fooled. Do not think that this is a lighthearted rom-com, because it is so far away from that. It is so much more than just a love story. But that's the thing, like, it's fantastical, it's extremely creative in the way that Emily Habeck decided to tell this story, but at the bottom of everything, como que al final, at the end, it literally is just a love story. It's the definition of love. It's the truest, or it's like the purest form of love. It's the kindest way that you can love someone. It's a story about how love changes you for the better. Es que me voy a poner a llorar de nuevo, perdón. Es que you don't understand, because I know that you don't understand because I haven't been able to explain to you. Like, I haven't even told you what this book is about, but como que even thinking back on my reading experience, it all just comes rushing back. Es como que willingly, I'm literally crying, don't even do this. Willingly going through such a devastating ordeal simply because of the overwhelming reality of your love for them. Ren's resilience, strength, bravery, capacity to love, and keep on living with her grief is beautiful and inspiring and heartbreaking. I don't know how to describe this book in a way that helps you understand why it's so important and why it's so much more than just a guy that's turning into a shark. Because yes, that is basically the plot of this book. Lewis has this really rare disease where he is slowly but surely turning into a shark. And even knowing this, Lewis and Ren get married and they make the most of every single day. And it's heartbreaking, it's revolutionary. It's such a beautiful metaphor for life and grief and change and the things that we lose as we're trying to hold on to the people that we love. I can know, like, I'm honestly, like, I'm so sorry. I really thought that I could talk about this because it's been over a year since I read this book, but I can't because I'm literally getting choked up just thinking about everything that we went through reading this, because not only does Ren lose her husband to this disease, but then they have a daughter. And apparently this thing is genetic, so like Ren also has to go through this as well. Like, not only is this a beautiful metaphor for all the things that I mentioned, life, change, grief, losing someone to an incurable disease, it's all of that. But then, como que, again, the resilience of the characters, the courage that Ren has to keep on loving despite everything that she has lost, the beauty of life goes hand in hand with all of the pain and suffering that you also have to live through. Like, they go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. And this book reminds you of that in one of the most heartbreaking ways that I've ever read in my entire life. Everything feels so real. Everything feels so personal. Everything feels como que it could happen to you, or it is happening to you, or it has happened to you. It made me cry in that deep, like, inside my soul type of way. Like, my eyes, my soul, my heart, they were so heavy. So if you haven't read Shark Heart by Emily Habeck, 100% recommend. 100,000, like 1,000,000% recommend. I think that it is time for one of my honorable mentions. I don't think that this is going to come as a surprise to any of you, but it's One Piece. Okay, listen. Before you leave, okay, listen. Last year in 2024, I read 27 volumes of these omnibus editions. These omnibus editions have 3 volumes each. So 27 times 3, you do the math, because I can't. 27 times 3, 21, 6, 7, 8, 81? Impossible. I read 81 volumes of one, that makes no sense to me. 81 volumes? Okay, yeah, so that definitely needs to be an honorable mention because it's not a recent favorite. I think it became a favorite in 2023, and that's why it's an honorable mention. Even though it was already a favorite, and it still is a favorite. Again, I read One Piece when in one of my lowest points in my life. Like, I was going through so much. I couldn't walk. I was severely depressed. And One Piece was the one place where I found, you know, a little bit of happiness. It was like one of the few things that could make me laugh. It was one of the few things that I would literally like stand up and walk towards anywhere outside of my room just so that I could get another volume of One Piece. Like, this means a lot to me. It literally carried me through my depressive months of 2024. And so of course this has to be an honorable mention. And if you haven't picked it up yet, like, I would highly recommend it, okay? Like, you know, just give it a chance. If you don't want to read the manga, start the anime. It's so short. It's so short. So speaking about manga, my next favorite book, or like my new favorite book that I read in 2024 was Vinland, this is upside down, Vinland Saga by Makoto Yukimura. This series kind of snuck up on me because I was reading book 1. I had already seen season 1 of the anime, so I kind of knew where the story was going. I was being introduced to the characters, I was being introduced to the world. It's in the Vikings era, and we're following this kid. His dad gets killed in front of him, and then he chooses to turn his life into a mission of revenge. Like, he wants to kill the guy that killed his dad. You know, it's a vicious cycle of violence and murder and pain. That's the premise of the story. That's where our character's journey, or our hero's journey, begins. But obviously, the more books that I read, I think it was by book 2 that I realized that this was so much more than I originally thought it was going to be about. It's not just about revenge anymore. It's what happens after the fact. It's what happens after you choose violence over and over again. What happens to your spirit? What happens to your heart? Can peace even exist after you've been choosing this path for so many years? Can you go back to, to living a life of kindness and living a life of love after everything that you've done, after all the people you've killed, after all the violence that you've, created in this world? I wasn't expecting this to become a new favorite series. I thought that I was going to really enjoy it. I thought that I was going to enjoy, the action scenes. I thought that I was going to enjoy the fight scenes, but I thought wrong. And I've never been happier to be this wrong. But yeah, Vinland Saga definitely took me by surprise, and I loved it. Highly recommend once again. Okay, these next 2 books, again, are probably the books where I have cried the most. Let's start with The Heart's Invisible Furies by John Boyne. So listen, how do I even begin to explain this book? We are following this one character, Cyril Avery, throughout his entire life. We literally begin this story before he's even born, but it's about his mom. Cyril Avery's life is not an easy one. And I think that the fact that we follow him even before he is born, it creates this sort of bond that is it's very sentimental, it's very powerful, because you have known this character for his entire life. You know literally every single aspect of his life, from beginning to middle to the end. And like, it's happening, it's coming. That doesn't take away from all the pain that you are going to have to suffer through while you're reading Cyril Avery's life story. It covers everything from family trauma to identity crisis to existential dread, and this is all happening while Ireland is going through some very big changes in the 20th century. And we're seeing all of this through Cyril Avery's perspective. We're seeing all of this happen as he's growing older, as he's understanding the way that the world works, as he falls in love for the first time, as his heart gets broken for the first time, as he experiences discrimination for the first time, as he experiences hate crimes for the first time. Despite all the heaviness, there's still something so beautiful about this story, because yes, there's so much heartbreak, there's so much trauma, there's so much pain, but there is also so much love, and there is also so much joy, and there's also, there's so much joy and happiness despite everything that's happening, despite everything that Cyril loses, despite everything that he has to go through and suffer through. He had such a good life. That's what I was talking about at the beginning. We formed such a powerful connection to him. His losses feel like our own, but also his wins feel like our own. And it's such a unique experience to have. It really just creates this, I don't think it happens to me that often that I am so bonded to this character I'm literally like invested in every single aspect of their lives. I mean, that does mean that the pain is doubled, but so is the joy. I was not expecting the emotional journey that this book took me through. It's an experience, and it's an experience for sure. The Heart's Invisible Furies. I'm literally so far from being okay, it's not even remotely funny, and how this book feels like being hit by a moving train with no brakes. I'm unwell. I will never get over this book and my experience reading it, and that's why I need everybody else to read it so that we can all experience the same thing and potentially cry together about it. So do it. Read The Heart's Invisible Furies. And then, coincidentally, there is another book, because I was like, I have never experienced a book like this, where we're following a character literally from their birth to their death. And then shortly after, I think a couple of months after I read The Heart's Invisible Furies, I picked up Stoner. I picked up Stoner by John Williams. For, I think, the first time that I started reading this book, I thought the author's name was Vintage Williams, and I was so ashamed. I was so embarrassed, but it's fine, we're over it. His name is John Williams, not Vintage Williams, just let the record show. And John Williams wrote Stoner, which is the greatest novel you've never read, as by the Sunday Times. Stoner is a book where we are following this one character that's called William Stoner. We're following this character literally from the beginning of his life right up until the end. And we go through everything that he goes through right along with him, and it feels like his pain is our pain, and it feels like his wins are our wins, and when he falls in love, we fall right alongside with him, and it feels like our first love, and it feels like our first heartbreak. I cannot stress this enough. I need you to read Stoner by John Williams. I know that the beginning is a little bit slow, but trust me, it's going to be so worth it. And honestly, by the end, you may hate me a little bit. You may be like, I wish you had never introduced me to this book, because you're going to hurt. You're going to hurt so much, like deep inside your soul, you're going to have so much pain, but it's going to be so worth it. Like, it's going to be so worth it. Mercilessly, he saw his life as it must appear to another. Dispassionately, reasonably, he contemplated the failure that his life must appear to be. He had wanted friendship and the closeness of friendship that might hold him in the race of mankind. He had wanted the singleness and the still connective passion of marriage. He had had that too, and he had not known what to do with it, and it had died. He had wanted love, and he had love, and had relinquished it, had let it go into the chaos of potentiality. O sea, tú me estás diciendo, like, are you listening to the writing? Are you listening to the emotion? Are you listening? That's all I want to know. That, like, I really want you to listen. Before I talk about my very last favorite book of 2024, there is one more honorable mention that honestly took me by surprise. I am very shocked at this turn of events, because this next honorable mention I had actually DNF'd back in 2023. I read the first book because this is a series, and I was like, you know what, it's just not for me. I'm confused, I don't like the characters, I don't like the plot, I'm confused, I don't want to be here, so I DNF'd it. And when I told you guys that I DNF'd it, so many of you were like, please keep reading, please give it another chance, I promise that you're going to enjoy it. And in 2024, I did just that. I gave Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation another chance. And I read the entire thing. I read every single volume. I own every single volume. I read every single one, and I am so happy that I gave this series another chance. The chaos of it all, the comedy of it all. It's so funny, but it also packs a punch, like both an emotional punch and also an action punch. And story-wise, it's so strong, and it's only, like, it only gets better the more volumes that you read. And that's, like, I can't believe that I literally gave up after volume 1. Because imagine if I would have never given it another chance and I would have missed out on this incredible story. So honestly, thank you guys. Thank you for pushing me to giving this series another chance, because I loved it. It was so fun. I loved the characters. I love the angst. I love the tension. I love the pain. Like, it's so good. It's so angsty. It's so emotional. It's so heartbreaking at times, but the... ¿Cómo se dice eso? Like, at the end, it's all worth it. There's this one word that I'm thinking of, like the callback. No, it's not a callback. The payoff. The payoff is so worth it. So thank you guys. Thank you for pushing me to giving Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation another chance, because I had so much fun reading this series last year. It was so incredible. It was funny, it was exciting, it was it was good. It was so good. The last book in this list of my favorite books of 2024, oh my goodness, drum roll please. Oh my god, I'm sorry. Sukuna just fell. But anyways, I'm just gonna do this. Can you tell what this is? If I show you this, can you tell? Can you tell what book this is? Les Mis by Victor Hugo. So, listen. There are a lot of questions about Les Mis and myself because I think I started reading this book in November. This took me 48 days to read, not because I wasn't enjoying it, but because, I feel so... anyways, I need to forgive myself for what happened. But anyways, while I was reading Les Mis, I stumbled across a deep pit of depression. I had so many exciting and fun plans planned for my Les Mis reading experience. I wanted to do vlogs, I wanted to do dedicated videos to it, like discussing my experience and what I was thinking, what I was feeling. And then the big depression occurred and I could not for the life of me do anything. I mean, you guys know, I went on like a 2 to 3 month hiatus without any warning. It just kind of happened. And it happened at the same time that I was reading Les Mis. Now, let me just be clear, Les Mis did not cause my depression. It happened at the same time. So for those of you who have been asking where the Les Mis reading vlog is, it's probably down there in the pit of depression that I have barely made it out of. So I'm still I am trying my best to kind of see what I can do. But for now, I just kind of want to talk a little bit about Les Mis because obviously I have never gotten the chance to do that. You guys know, I was so intimidated by Les Mis. I honestly, it's one of the longest books that I've ever read and it's literally known as the brick. People in the classic literature world, I guess, or in literature world period, they call it the brick. It is familiarly known as the brick because of how big it is. Yes, I've read other similarly long books, but nothing quite like Les Mis because, Dios mío, this book, there's just so much. There is so much going on. We have so many characters. And the thing is, each character takes a piece of your heart with them. Especially Jean Valjean, of course, and then also Fantine, Dios mío, Fantine, and Cassette. This is so many things. This is a love story. This is a life story. This is a man trying to find salvation or a man trying to find forgiveness, a man trying to live with himself after everything that he's been through, everything that he has experienced, a man trying to fight for his happiness or to, try his best to live the best life that he can get despite everything that he has suffered through. It's a man not giving up in the face of everything that he's suffered. It's a story about resilience and power and strength and beauty and love and life. And life. Sorry, I got a little bit too emotional there. It is a commitment. I won't lie to you guys. It's not something that you can just pick up on a whim and just be like, oh yeah, that's interesting. No, you have to commit to Les Mis, but it is so worth it because the characters that you'll meet along the way, they'll teach you so much about yourself, about life and love and morality and the human condition. It's just such an incredible journey. It's a book that demands attention. It's a book that needs you to be present for every single page. Yes, even the weird, seemingly unimportant tangents that Victor Hugo goes on, even those you have to pay attention to because he didn't just do that just because he had nothing else to write about. He did that for a reason. And honestly, paying attention to every single page of this book is one of the best experiences that I had in 2024. Even while I was going through the Great Depression, I still had Les Mis to hold on to. And this book helped me keep my grasp on reality. It reminded me of what's truly important. It reminded me that humans are resilient to a fault. It reminded me that yes, you're going to suffer. Yes, you're going to go through some of the most horrible things that humans can go through. And you're still going to get to wake up the next day. You're still going to have to live through this, and you will be okay. You just have to give yourself grace. You have to give yourself patience, and above all, you cannot give up. As you can see, I annotated so much of Les Mis. I don't even, like, oh my goodness. Again, this is another book that I showed in my annotation video, and I talked a little bit about how I annotated it and why I chose to annotate it the way that I did. I mean, honestly, I just had fun with it, you know? I love that Les Mis connects real life personal stories to the historical events that were happening in France at the time, or just in Europe overall, and he weaves them together in such a way that feels so natural and realistic, and it packs a punch. It really does. This was also a buddy read with one of my absolute favorite people in the entire world, Sunny. Reading this with her again made the reading experience like 1,000 times more fun and memorable and significant to me. So this book means a lot to me. I know it's huge. I know it's a commitment, but again, I would honestly, truly recommend this to you guys wholeheartedly. Not even kidding. I feel like this is such an important read, and it's such a beautiful story of love and resilience and survival and redemption. And you have to read it. So, vamos a ver si yo puedo hacer esto sin que se caiga nada. So these were my favorite books of 2024, plus a couple of honorable mentions. Hopefully I made it abundantly clear why these books were my favorites of 2024, why they shaped my year, why they shaped me as a person, why they rewired my brain chemistry and forever changed me for the better. Let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these books, or if they are now on your TBR. That would actually make me so happy to know that I've inspired or, like, you know, piqued your interest with any of these books. Like, that would just, I would feel so, what's that word? Fulfilled. I would feel like I did a good job at talking about my favorite books. So I really do hope you enjoy. I need to put this down. I need to put this down. I need to put this down. Wait, oh my God. I would actually also love to know what your favorite books of 2024 were. And if you have found any new favorites in what we have of 2025 so far, I would love to hear about it in the comments down below. So please do me that favor. Just like take 5 to 10 seconds to be like, my new favorite book is this one, because I would love that. I would love if we could create like this space of just sharing our favorites and being like, this is why I am no longer the same person after I read this book, and I need you to read it as well. I also have a Patreon where I post exclusive content. I host readathons, reading sprints, and a monthly book club. We're currently hosting an April readathon, and I would love to have you be a part of it because we always have so much fun, and I would just love to have you guys there. So the link is down below as always if you'd love to join or check it out. Once again, I really do hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you're having a fantastic April whenever you're watching this. I love you and appreciate you so very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to stay. If no one's told you recently, you're doing an incredible job. So keep going. I believe in you, and I will definitely be seeing you next time. Bye.
Hey Jimmy, you nice. Keep going.